Good morning, welcome to Wellies and Wax Jackets channel. It's been a long time since I've posted anything, so I thought today I'd sort of give you a bit of an update as to what's going on the plot, or should I say on the plots, as we now have two. We've had a pile of wood chip, as you can see here, delivered. I think this was delivered a couple of months ago now. Luckily enough, we get our wood chip for free, which is really handy. We just use this for paths. Don't really use it for mulching. As you can see, it's very big, big lumps of bark. It would take a long time to degrade, but it's great for our paths. So there's a fair bit going on. As you'll see, I haven't really done too much this year in the way of planting. Just the bare essentials, really. Thought I'd take this year to put all the two plots together, do some more landscaping-y stuff, and kind of get it how I want it, so that in years to come it's really easy. Just mulch each year and plant. So here I've made a new carrot bed, although I'm not too sure how well this carrot bed's going to do. I mean, it's not particularly sunny today, but the tree above does cause quite a lot of shade. So we'll see how that goes. I might end up changing that bed and moving it elsewhere next year if nothing does too well in there. We've currently got 5 varieties of carrots, and that's simply because I've grown carrots every year for the last goodness knows how many years, and I never remember which ones I've actually grown because I've had so many seed packets in my box. I can never remember which ones I've grown, so I'm going to do a bit of a trial this year, and I've actually labelled them, which is unusual for me because I do have a bit of a bad habit of not labelling stuff, or if I'm putting stuff on I tend not to label it, and then I completely forget what variety it was, and then I can never grow it again. So here is our new addition this year, a plum tree. Never grown on before. I've been watching what's his name, Steve Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel. Now he grows quite a lot of fruit trees in bins. He does use galvanised bins. Didn't have the luxury of that. I just happen to have 8 plastic bins. So I've drilled holes in the bottom for some drainage, stood them up on bricks. Well, this plum tree's up on bricks. I haven't managed to get around to doing this one yet. But this is our cherry, I believe. No, I tell a lie. Sorry, I've got it around the wrong way. This is the cherry. Excuse me. This is the plum tree, and this is the cherry tree. So we can just see that it's literally just started to bud, and that was planted a few weeks ago. Just again, another little tip that I got from Steve Seaside Allotment channel is not to fill your bins up to the top, so that in subsequent years you can mulch and add bark or wood chip or compost or whatever it is you add to your trees. It's a new thing for me. I've never done fruit trees before in any way, shape or form, so thought I'd give it a go. Nothing to lose, eh? Planted these potatoes, what was that? That must have been about the end of February. Haven't done particularly well, although they are significantly better than these here. Have no idea why. Not sure if they come from a different seed potato batch. Not sure, but I've kind of tried to separate those from the rest, as these are doing okay. Not as exciting as the ones I've got at home, but they're doing okay. For anybody that currently watches any of my videos, you'll possibly notice that this is a new addition, this sort of under tree seating area. This is actually in homage to my dad. I lost my dad recently, and he loved the allotment, so I decided to make a nice little patch for him. As you can see, there's like a stake under the tree. I've got a little plaque that I've had made from brass, so that will eventually be put on that stake once I've cleared up and finished everything else. Anyway, moving on. As you can see, it's all very much work in progress. Lots of rubbishy bits laying around where I've been tinkering. Shed is an absolute eyesore at the moment. Much is the polytunnel, but it is coming along. My neighbouring allotment holder has given me some pepper plants, which need to go in very soon. The strawberries haven't done particularly well in here. I'm wondering if it's because of the tree and we're not getting as much sun in here as I'd like. Besides the birds that tend to sit on the tree and, well, leave their mess, shall we say. These strawberries are actually runners from strawberry plants that were probably about 8 years old. Again, I like to just experiment. I like to try and save things from the compost heap, so I thought I'll chuck them in and see what happens. And as you can see, we've got a few strawberries coming on, so it wasn't a complete waste of time, and they look like reasonably healthy plants. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with those. Tomatoes, I've literally just salvaged this one from my neighbour. She didn't manage to get it in anywhere, so it's been in a tiny little square pot, whereby it's dragged over, so the stems were all bent, much like these ones, to be honest. They're all completely bent and twisted and warped, where they haven't sort of gone in or been staked or anything. They've just been hanging over a bench. So these have all now gone in, all looking all right. I've taken the shoots out this morning. I don't think I've missed any, but they're all looking pretty good. All looking yeah, pretty nice. Over here, I decided to just do some flowers this year because I've never kind of really done any flowers, so just thought I'd give them a go. Probably not really meant to put them in module trays because I think a lot of them are, you know, direct sowing. But I've got some cornflower here, which I love anyway. Nasturtiums trailing. So I've got some pots at home actually that I'm going to probably put these in. Oh, something's been having a go at this. Not sure quite what it is. Not sure. Possibly a slug. We've had a fair few slugs in here while I was away. One of my plot neighbours, I asked if they could kindly pop in and water things for me. Unfortunately, he decided that everything needed to be drowned. So on my return, every tray possible was full of water. So we have an awful lot of slugs and a lot of things that are not doing particularly well, like my tomatoes here. These, I believe, are tumbling tomatoes. So again, they're a determinate variety that will hang in baskets, hopefully, if they do anything else. I've literally potted on these this morning. Again, these are just some scraps that I had left over from some seeds I've had for quite some time, so I really didn't expect any germination at all, really, but they've done better than I expected. We've got some Brussels sprouts, fill basket. They're my favourites. Yeah, so I've just sort of potted those on, getting a bit leggy for the module trays now. And we've also got some PSB in here, purple sprouting broccoli. Again, I think I did around, well, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that I did 24 PSB from an old packet of seeds. Excuse me. And this is what I got, 5. So yeah, again, didn't expect too much, so I'm not overly bothered. Now, I made a complete and utter disaster with these. I have no idea what they are. I think they're probably French beans, but I'm not sure because, as I said, I'm not very good with hanging on to labels. Either that or it's fallen out somewhere and I don't know where it's gone. It's definitely not this one because this one says broccoli, so yeah, I don't know why that's ended up in there. I do know what these are. These are my Lady Di runner beans, in desperate need to leave these ridiculously small module trays, and I plan on doing those today. again, these have been given to me by my plot neighbour. She has grown lots and lots of sweet corn, and these are the extras that she didn't want. I've been told not to grow sweet corn on this site because badgers are notorious here and will destroy the entire crop. That said, I've got a new little project hopefully going on this week, and yeah, that they're probably going to be part of the project. Again, these have been donated. These are can't think of the word, cucumbers. Excuse me, my memory is awful. So these are cucumbers, also again donated from my lovely plot holder friend. So again, this is some more strawberries, looking okay. And I've got the same problem here again. I haven't actually labelled these, and they have been absolutely eaten by, I have no idea what, probably slugs, I would imagine. Yes, no, there's definitely slugs because they've got slime still on them. So anyway, yeah, again, hoping to get those in today. My watering system, it's been a little bit lax because of the lack of rain for quite some time now. These are really all the only three that I have, which is clearly filled by the shed roof. But I do use the hose and a small, oh my goodness, I can't remember, a small submersible pump. There we are, there's the word. Submersible pump to use from the trough with the hose down to the butts when we've had no rain. So I just fill the butts up from the tanks that we have on site, which are filled by mains. This is a little bench I made just to add this in. Yeah, little potting table, bench, storage thing. Just out of some old scrap pallets, really, and some bits of timber I had laying around. So it's come out quite well, actually. It's quite sturdy. Not entirely sure as to where I'm going to put it yet, but it's, even where it is, it's just being a storage facility. I have a rose here. Oh wow, actually, this is a surprise. First time I've actually looked at this. I brought it down here a week after my dad passed away. My mum passed away. So yeah, this came from her garden. It was actually a yellow climbing rose, half a bell, that I bought for her 2 years ago, I believe. I took it home, put it in this pot because she had it in her garden, and it looked very unwell. So I thought, you know what, I'll bring it down here, make a little garden area for her, or in memory of her, with just some old bits of scaffold board. This has literally been dumped here, but actually it's got quite a lot of new growth, which is really, really surprising. I never expected it to actually do anything. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I will need to dig quite a large hole because the roots, when I put it in this bucket, literally fill the bottom of the bucket. So yeah, that will hopefully climb up the shed at some point. Today I've got a few little jobs going. I've had rabbit issues again. It's an ongoing problem since we've been here. If it isn't snails, it's birds. If it ain't birds, it's rabbits. If it's not rabbits, it's badgers. If it's not badgers, it's something else. It's literally relentless. Trying to keep pests off of my food is, yeah, becoming an irritation now. But the latest one is the rabbits. The rabbits are destroying everything. I had my onions covered. These were my overwintered onions. They were covered with that green hoop net that you can see there. And I thought, you know what, I'll uncover the onions now because I think they're a reasonable size. The rabbits probably aren't going to bother with them. And I'll cover my lettuce because I know, clearly everybody knows that rabbits love lettuce. So if one did get in here, the lettuce would survive. I came back the next morning to find that every onion top had been eaten. So anyway, it's neither here nor there. I wasn't overly worried with these, but I mean, they're still great. they'll be eaten. I'll harvest them today, and yeah, we'll or I might even pickle some of them actually. My partner seems to love his pickled onions. This is becoming a bit of an eyesore now and not fit for purpose. This was a compost base, if you like, I built 3 years ago. It's done okay. It's rickety now. It's fallen to pieces. It was literally a couple of minutes screwing a couple of pallets together. It was never going to last. So yeah, I'm going to just redo this at some point. I'd say lots of big jobs this year to be doing. Not a lot of time for weeding and all the rest of it. This is going back to the rabbits again. Prior to giving up all hope this year, I decided that I was going to trim back everything that was here, because I had, unfortunately we don't have any plot neighbours this side. No surprise really, given the amount of brambles that there are in this patch. I mean, in all fairness, that patch is actually better than this one was when I took this one over, but it's daunting for someone that perhaps isn't a gardener or is new to allotment, clearing. So yeah, it's no surprise really, although I have been told that there is going to be somebody taking over that patch, so I've yet to see them, and unless they've got some sort of quite hefty machinery, I think they may struggle. The last people that took that plot paid for a year and didn't turn up more than once, but we'll see. But yeah, so all this side of this fence was completely covered in stinger nettles. Actually, I kind of wish I hadn't took them all down now, because they do create quite like a nice natural barrier, and of course they do die off in the winter. I think had I have left them, I could have made some nice nettle tea and just kind of kept on top of them, as opposed to trimming them all out. Although, to be fair, the whole point of trimming them all out was to find the holes in the fence that the rabbits were coming through. But anyway, live and learn. This little patch at the end of my plot, it is actually also my plot, but there is so much rubble underneath this patch. I have black plastic bit, as you can see, and then just wood chipped it. And I've actually now donated it to my plot holder friend, as she ran out of storage space and her shed fell down. So I said she could use this patch. It's pretty weed free, it's not too bad. Obviously the plastic's giving up, but yeah, it's been down a little while now, so it's only to be expected really. Right, this is a bit of an experiment. Never done this before and I have no idea if it'll work or not, but I left in some leeks, my strongest, healthiest plants that I have. I think they're elephant variety. Now, I don't know if they work the same as onions, where you have to keep them in for the first season, take them out and then replant them. I really have no idea whether this is going to work, but I thought I'd let them grow and flower and hopefully get some seed. So yeah, that's kind of why that's been left looking very bedraggled. Just in case you're wondering, the Coke can, this was for when I had all other plants in last year. This was a bird deterrent, I'm told. Garlic. The garlic looks okay. It's not anything spectacular, and it is starting to get some rust on it. This is quite a big issue here. Oops. Use that. So there's the rust spots, and realistically, once you get rust on one plant, it usually just spreads everywhere, and then everything pretty much just stops growing. But the advantage is the rabbits don't seem to like this garlic particularly, because whilst it looks like someone may have had a little chew, obviously wasn't to their palate. So I'm going to leave it in for now. The leaves have started to yellow. The rust isn't too horrific, so we'll just kind of see how that goes. The lettuce I've got here, some of it's starting to heart up, as you can see. The rest of it seriously needs harvesting, which I've not done for nearly 2 weeks now because I've been away. I've made a bean frame, but once again I'm going to, as a an enormous bramble. This is still part of the brambles that we had on this plot when we first came here 3 years ago. So he will come out before I plant anything in here. But yeah, so I'm going to have to put my climbing beans on this. But I'm going to have to find a way of keeping the rabbits out of it. I don't know if rabbits eat beans. I should imagine they probably do, because they seem to eat everything else. So yeah, I'll do that as well. This is now just a weed bed, although as you can see it was supposed to be beetroot. Didn't do really anything at all, the beetroot. I'm not entirely sure as to why. Yeah, it's just not what I expected, really. There is some little bits there, but nothing to sort of sing about, really. I think they were hit by something quite early on. So yeah, not really sure, but I'm not overly bothered because I want to clear this bed, remulch it, and new plants will go in. This is a bed that did have, or as you can see still has, radish in it. I did this quite early. They're a spring crop. They love the being out in the spring. Summer is pretty pointless. They seem to take forever to grow and everything eats them. That said, even though I put them in early, they were absolutely demolished by the flea beetle. The holes in the leaves tell you that you have flea beetle, and the few that did survive were wholly, which I can only assume is wood lice or slugs, and or both perhaps. Anyway, we've another thing that's been destroyed by the rabbits, as you can see, is my tomato plants. These were nice and healthy. Tomato, I've not really ever done tomato plants outdoors, so I spoke to my friend and said, oh, you know, can I put them out? Will they need any protection? She's like, no, they should be fine, you know, just put them out. You know, there's not really too much that eats tomatoes. Well, yeah, rabbits do, apparently. So, yeah, but they're still growing. They're still kind of doing all right. So, well, the bits that haven't been eaten anyway. But, yeah, they're kind of doing okay. So, I'm going to leave them in. I mean, this one's even got flower on it. So, you know, I'm going to leave them here and see how we go. But that's a lesson learned for next year. I put this up temporarily this year. My sort of mini brassica cage, if you will. These had been in the polytunnel for quite some time, so they're all looking a little bit fragile and discoloured. Hoping they'll come back. They've perked up a bit since I've put them out here, so yeah, hopefully they'll be okay. But we've got some cabbage, we've got some calabrese in there, and possibly purple sprouting broccoli, not sure, can't remember. Again, I haven't labelled anything. Yeah, it's a bit of a running joke with me. I just plant it in and hope that it grows. So anyway, going on to plot number 2. As you can see, this is still much a work in progress. I had a bit of an issue with levelling the ground out. I didn't want to dig it up. Obviously the whole point of what I'm doing is no dig. I didn't want to turf it all up, but realistically I suppose you probably could have turned it all over, levelled it all out, but the height difference, which you can see because of the boards that I've put there, the height difference from sort of this part along here to here, or to the edge of my old plot, is quite a significant difference. Not sure why or how that's occurred, but I'm assuming it's probably just people digging and digging and digging year after year after year, and it's changed somehow the level quite significantly. So the solution was to shut her up, put some boards up against these old posts, which were originally my boundary fencing. And I've got lots and lots and lots of compost, and half killed myself yesterday barrowing it from over the behind me to here. Now, as you can see, it kind of goes from around about, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 inches deep here to negate the slope, and well, the little bit that I've actually completed over here is probably no more than about 2 inches deep, and it still isn't level, so that, you know, that is quite some slope. But anyway, we'll get it straight, we'll get it level as best I can. With the compost, it will sink down over the year, but I plan to do pretty much the same again at the end of the year once it's all had time to settle. I've not really decided what's going on up here. Oh, actually, going back to this patch, the reason I'm doing this now here is because I've ordered a polytunnel frame, which is 6 metres by 3 metres. So the patch that I've pretty much covered here is approximately 6 by 3. This will go up so I can get my brassica in this year. I may well plastic cover it because I've done no weeding, as it were. So I may plastic cover it, and just for this year only, and plant in the plastic into the compost, which will be underneath. That's the plan. So anyway, yeah, within a few days or a week, there should be a massive polytunnel frame here that will be covered in netting rather than plastic. Like I say, I'm just going to use it as a brassica cage for this year. We love our brassicas, and every year so far we've not managed to salvage any brassicas because they've been eaten, destroyed or whatever by every pest possible. So this is my expensive but hopefully good solution. Yeah, so up here, not really sure what's going on up here at the moment. I shall probably make some beds along here, probably going from kind of one side to the other. Again, it's going to need so much levelling out. There's so many dips and troughs and ant mounds, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. It just needs levelling out so badly. Underneath this black plastic is, well, just weeds. More of the same, really. I literally just chucked this over the other day when I took it off because it was covering this patch here. So yeah, I've took it off and just laid it over here for now. Was no particular reason for it, just it's going to help kill off whatever's there and make it easier to clear. Now this patch up here is almost meadow-like. Again, the same as sort of that patch over there where all the rubble is underneath. Apparently this was a World War II army site. Under what guise, I don't know, but yeah, there were buildings here, so I'm told, which means that underneath, once the buildings were knocked down, the rubble was just left here, so there's actually not very much soil, but it does mean there's not too many weeds or too many vigorous weeds except grass. So I'm hoping if I can clear it and level it, again, as you can see, we've just got ant mounds everywhere. So I will level it, clear it, and hopefully we'll have another polytunnel up here, probably the same size as the other one behind the shed over there, which I think is 4 by 3 metres. So that will probably go up here, and the reason being is because there is a water tank there. Just going to make it so much easier to water everything. So yeah, there's still remnants of the previous owner with all the plastic pieces. I'm assuming there must have been beds here. So yeah, these I would imagine will just be beds. Actually, when I was trying to sort of plan it out this morning, I didn't actually realise quite how long it was. I was trying to sort of just do a rough plan from memory, but actually I think we're going to get quite a lot along here, to be honest, but we'll see. Yeah, and on that patch there as well, that'll probably be just beds as well. I'm a bit unsure as to whether to keep that bramble or not. Maybe just make a thing of it. I hate brambles because I've had to dig out so many over the last few years. I've actually become to test them, although I love their fruit. So yeah, maybe might consider just keeping that one and trying to keep on top of it, but we'll see. He's stayed there for now. Moving along, this obviously none of this is what I've planted. This was here when I arrived. Again, this is all fruit. We actually did come and take all the fruit off of it last year, knowing that the previous owner wasn't coming back. And we actually had, there's red currant, white currant, lots of different things. Lots of different berries, and also another one here as well in front of the shed. But me personally, I took around about 10 kilo of fruit from these bushes, and that's not including 2 other allotment plot holders who came over and was helping themselves as well. So yeah, in total I wouldn't have a clue, but there was an awful lot of fruit. Something that excited me when I didn't realise it was here, but obviously I was strimming, and unfortunately I've actually completely destroyed it. I'm hoping that if I clear it and tidy it, that it might come back next year. That's the plan. Didn't even realise it was here, but it's rhubarb. Love rhubarb, so yeah, I'm hoping it will revive itself. We live in hope. Anyway, this is again more fruit. We have, I believe, a pear tree, and there are 1, 2, 3 gooseberry bushes here. Surprisingly, there's actually no fruit on it yet, unless it's all been eaten, of course. Is there any? Hang on, this one over here's got some fruit on it. We've got some fruit growing on here, so not quite ready yet, but I'm not a lover of gooseberry. They're far too bitter, but my partner loves them and eats them raw, or as they are. And this is our apple tree. We've just got some apples starting to come on here. Now, I wanted to do something with this because, being me, I wanted to hack it all down. Well, no, maybe not hack it all down, but tidy it. It's clearly a very old apple tree, but it's enormous. And how to get the fruit from the top, I have no idea. Apologies for the cut in the video then, as I'm walking past talking extremely loudly. Anyhow, so not really sure what to do with this apple tree. We'll see, but it does have a lot of fruit on it. So we'll decide later on what we're doing with that. We have a few tubs here of, well, these are what I bought last year actually, before I got this plot, because I'm going to go on plot number 1, as it were. So this is my red currant, not realising that I was going to end up with this plot with lots of red currant already. And these are blueberry. I bought this one and this one. As you can see, this one is looking a little bit sorry for itself. It was left in my kitchen window for quite some time, but it just doesn't seem to have liked being in my window for a long time. But this one looks as though it's making an effort, so we'll leave them there for now and see what happens. Again, we have another berry bush here. Not sure what colour berry it is, white, red, not sure, but I do remember these ones being particularly sour last year when we came over to pick fruit, so I'm not sure I'll be overly interested in those. That's about it really. That's the whole plot. 2 big plots kind of coming together. The shed's going to go. I've given that away to my friend. It's a bit rickety, but it's better than what she has, which is nothing. This tree is the one that I was referring to earlier on. it's clearly not dead, but I'm wondering if it's diseased, perhaps. Not really sure, but it's dropping branches quite severely, and I do worry about that big one that kind of sticks out to the right there, because if it goes, it's going on my polytunnel and my shed. So yeah, we'll see. Just one last thing is this enormous pile here. I have, or had last week, 11 tonnes of compost delivered. As you can see, slowly making my way through it. It is incredibly slow as well. But yeah, so we're getting there, but loads more to do, and it's lovely to have this on site so I don't have to keep buying bags of compost, and yeah, so it's really good to have it here. So anyway, I shall leave it there for now, and this is Hannah, and you have been watching Willie's Match Jackets channel.